Great to see everyone, see them faces, put my face to the voice on the webinars. We'll talk about project insights. I've got two areas I'm going to cover today, project insights and a little bit of project actions. You just heard a little bit about it. I'll talk about it a little bit more, peel back the layers a little bit. Before I start, I want to show something here. We've got this circle of, we've got our different development themes that we do our work around. You've heard about empowered engineering. Well, what does that mean? Generically speaking, they're streamlining the engineering work that's needed and really about making the engineering data available throughout the system, throughout the organization. So each thing I talk about, I'll be connecting back to one of these circles. We got the synchronized shipyard. What do we mean by that? Timely access to the engineering information that drives other departments, not just engineering. It's everybody outside of the organization and other departments. We talk about the business of shipbuilding. This is really about how we develop and to deliver our products so that you can use them and really meet your needs and deliver it in a way that works for you. So there's a lot of thought that goes into that. And finally, the big green circle covers everything, really. It's about making all of these things easy to learn, easy to use. Ultimately, if they're not easy to learn and easy to use, they won't get used. So I'll keep connecting back to this. Now, where does Project Insights fit? It sort of fits to help you guys manage your projects, but it also covers the easy circle there. There's also another twist to Project Insights, and it's really a selfish one. It really helps us understand how our software is being used and how it's performing on your platforms and your configurations. So we can also use it for that. And that's pretty exciting for us. I think I'll start a little bit with a little history and background, what led us to Project Insights that we have today. It started off as the Customer Involvement Program. It came out in 2012. Basically, it collected commands usage. So every command, AutoCAD, ShipConstructor, we're collecting data on that. Required you to enable it on each workstation. It stored the data locally, so it was on your platforms. We use the XML file format, which we still use. And then you could process that data, and we put it into Excel pivot tables and reports. However, we really learned a lot through that experience. Found enabling CIP, one of the big limitations, the way we had originally implemented it. This is the local setting to each workstation. That meant it needed to be manually configured everywhere. So that was a bit of a challenge, especially for large organizations. The data that we were collecting was stored locally on each machine. So that really made it difficult to collect data and pull it together. Again, a manual process. We had guides and things like that to do it, but it was still a very cumbersome process to do that kind of thing. And then the real difficult part. Once you got that data, you had to send it to us. And then we could process that data into a usable format and came out with some pretty useful looking reports using Excel and pivot tables, which was also a tripping point. Not everybody had those kind of things installed. So a number of barriers to adoption were identified. Manual effort to do it company-wide, especially in the larger organizations. Assembling the user data was manual effort. Creating reports and distributing them was a manual, time-consuming effort. Really, the whole process introduced a time lag between when you wanted information about your project and when you could get a report about it. And it was really quite user activity focused. It wasn't quite the project level, which is what we really wanted. So the result was we had a low adoption rate. So we took a good hard look at all of this. And, how do we make this more useful to you guys? So it started in 2019 R2, sort of the beginnings of this happened, and each release since we've been enhancing it and making it better. Our real goal is really to help you understand the work that's going on in your project. So this is definitely for managers of the teams and definitely fitting that whole area, understanding what work is going on. Really make it easy. So make it easy to enable, so it's not difficult to turn on, easy to get that data, make it much easier to process, and really important that you can use it locally. It doesn't involve SSI. And really, just a couple of questions, but we're expanding on that every day. Answer things, how is the progress going in unit, whatever? Where's the team spending their time? This is from a project management point of view, not a policing point of view. It's like, how are we doing? Where are we working? And how are we getting that work done? Just some teasers. So what we have now, it's a project setting. You just go to manager, you go into the general, and you go to the settings, and you can turn it on. If you create a new project, it's on by default. So it's collecting you. It doesn't get sent to us. That's all under your control. Of course, you can disable it if you don't want it. But it's just a project setting. So no matter one or many team users, it's all one thing. We added a new folder under the project folder called Project Insights. And that's where all the raw data gets collected for the whole project. So it's not on the workstations anymore. It's on the whole project. That means when you package up the project, it's actually included if you want it. It really consolidates a lot of different data. We do collect the basic system information, make sure we have the right AutoCAD version, ShipConstructor. We understand what state it is in SDI or SE, SDI, so you can understand those. And it collects data for every session. So somebody connects to a project, doing their work. When they close out ShipConstructor, that's when the data gets saved. We've got some project data that we've connected to, and that's an interesting area that we're expanding on all the time. So you get your project, your database, your revision information, the part data information, and connecting it all up with the user activity, where they're working, what are they doing, how things are going, parts created. So just an example, we recently added parts data. You'll hear more about that later today. But we get information on the unit statistics. We've got spool information, the spool counts, the part counts. So that's all the kind of data that's accessible. So we'll get into it. Spools by system, plate stocks by unit. It's just an example of all the different things around parts that are useful information. So that's accessible now in Project Insights. Profile stocks. And how does it work? We really thought hard about how to make this easy. So to generate a report, you go to the Start menu, and there's a nice little icon that says Project Insights. If you've never run or run this before, it'll walk you through a wizard that helps you install Power BI. And we've built it around the Power BI free version. So it's easy to download, install, and run. The advanced version's more about sharing on the web and all that kind of stuff. So it has all the functionality we need. So it's really easy to get, really easy to install. When you want to generate a Project Insights report, some stuff happens under the hood. We actually take all that XML files, information, project information, we process it into a SQLite database. That just makes it so Power BI can view and you can interact with the data more efficiently. So it consolidates all this information about the command usage, project activity, and it's all available now to create reports. And it's really great. It's very interactive. So I'm not going to go through each report. When we install it and run it, it comes with a template Power BI report. In that report, we've got several different examples of what we've done with it in terms of creating visualizations. We have project metrics, revision history, a variety of things. This is something we're constantly evolving. They're interactive reports, so they're not just a static graphic screen. By clicking on the reports and selecting different areas, you can isolate information. You want to just know about this unit, what's going on in this one unit, for example, or you're looking for certain parts, certain activity, what activity is going on in certain drawings. We've got reports. And there's a couple of levels of customization. There's some really easy filtering things. If you're just looking for certain things, you can add filters to it yourself, or you can create entirely new reports yourself. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So for example, our revisions and trends. We've got the data, we've accessed all the different revisions. When you click on different areas, it isolates that information, updates the graph, this kind of thing. So it's tantalizing in terms of what it is. It's very powerful. Where we want to go with this stuff, though, is to make them even simpler reports. So right now, I'd say our reports are very interactive and visual interaction. But we can work with you guys to create simpler ones. But the whole idea is it's interactive and you can visualize what your project's doing. Another example, just isolating revisions by units. So we can see the trends over time, the different drawing types. You can see all the different kinds of activity. You know, your guys are supposed to be working on this phase of the project. They should be spending more time here, but they're not. Then you can go wonder, okay, why aren't we working on that now? Isn't that done? So it's kind of help you figure those kind of things out. You can see the progress by units as things are getting done. So just as an example. So we're really creating a visualization of the project progress. We're really trying to give you an overview, what parts are created, the timeline analysis, see your productivity, and compare that against your own key performance indicators and such. It does combine the command usage and the drawing activity with the actual parts and revisions. So the sky's the limit in terms of its potential. Customizable reports. Now with inward looking at SSI, we get to see great things like what commands are being run. Where are people doing things? We use it a lot in our own internal testing for each release because we can see what kind of test coverage, what kind of areas. We did all this development here. What are we doing? Do we make sure we got those covered? Who did the testing? That kind of thing. But it's useful for you too, the same type of information. Just another example, you could isolate AutoCAD or ShipConstructor commands. That's just the way we've set up these reports. These are all fully customizable. You can change what they're doing. Look at the different drawings, make sure we're testing the right areas. So it really helps us understand how are you using our product. So for example, these are just some opening times. Several different clients, different drawings, and you see variation. Why? It's a good question. There's difference in infrastructure. We know some clients have more deeper drawings, more complicated drawings, got more references, that kind of thing. But it gives us great insight to see where we could work and optimize things. Just more details. But really helps us, really, are the new features being adopted? Are the understanding the product performance? Because we get that information. And it really helps us assist in prioritizing some of our development areas. If we're looking at an area that's problematic, this can prove it. It can quantify that issue. Sometimes we get I've just upgraded and it's not loading very quickly. Things are drawing time. Well, now we've got numbers that we can see and we can compare. So it could be infrastructure, it could be your drawings, at least it gives us some insight because we can see what's normal and what's abnormal. So it really helps us. So we can capture the project trends, understand all that information. Come on. Help you understand the work that's being performed. We'd like to customize it. On this note, come on. Just like when we first introduced Enterprise Platform and create new operations, we have an open door policy. Make the request to us. We want to hear from you. We want to create useful reports. So we've been working with a handful of clients already, Lambertus being one of them, and you'll see the kind of things that he's done and we've done with him to create more customized reports that really suit his needs, his organization's needs. I think you'll agree what you'll see suit many people's needs. We really want to work with more clients. We can help them customize their reports as well. Power BI, the basics are quite easy. The details are a little more advanced. We have the expertise to help you do that. So, what do you need? Well, you need a major license. You need a subscription. That's all you need. So if you're getting support from us, you can make the request. One other thing you heard about, project actions. So we looked at our administration side of things. Of course, not many users do that, but project management is an issue. One of the important things to do is we recommend regular backups and project maintenance to be run. We're often surprised when clients aren't doing these basic activities to avoid a lot of problems later on. So we really wanted to make these tools really easy to use. Previously, you could set up this stuff, you could do maintenance, but it was individual projects. So it's a little bit cumbersome for anybody who's got more than one project running at the same time. And it was really difficult to identify any scheduling conflicts or this kind of thing. Basically, things might fail before you notice that you've got a problem. So our main goal was just to simplify the scheduling and management of automatic backup and maintenance across multiple projects. So we've introduced something called project actions in the administrator. It's pretty simple right now, and in the next few releases you'll be seeing more utilities coming out related to this. This was our first cut at it. It allows backup maintenance for one or multiple projects at a time, so you can set them up. One of the great things about it, it's easy to run, but you get to see the history, so you can see when things are run and how long those backups took. Were they successful? Did they crash? Is there a conflict? So you can adjust your scheduling so you can really optimize when you're running your basic maintenance and backup. So it's pretty easy. Of course, not everybody should be allowed to do this, so we've set up permissions around it as well, just who's allowed to set up scheduling. It does require a full version of Microsoft SQL Server. So this doesn't work with SQL Express. This does require your full version. Yeah. And that's all.